The EP Podcast. Heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the eppodcast.com.
All right, so I'm going to bring Colleen Klimczak in to kick off the show with me because I've had to kind of adjust how the EP podcast is going to go this week because we had a bit of an emergency in the Lanuti house. Everybody's fine, bit of an emergency, and everything I was doing for the show was put on hold. So the EP podcast brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Your child's bright financial future starts with learning good money habits early in life. Help them get ahead with a junior savers account from the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. With a junior savers account, kids earn interest on every dollar they deposit so they can watch their money grow. Show your kids how fun and rewarding saving can be and set them up for success. Learn more at bankevergreenpark.com/junior or stop in and see the folks over in that iconic building in 95th and Pulaski. First of all, welcome, Colleen. How are you?
I'm great. I am not having an emergency, so I need to know more. Oh my goodness, it's so disruptive.
You came in and you were like, I just heard. And I'm like, everybody's fine.
I did. So, my husband had listened to everything.
He had listened to Socks in the Basement or Southside Pod, which have come out since the emergency, but the EP podcast is not.
Oh my goodness.
So 6 a.m., I got woken up by my daughter, okay? And all I heard was, Dad, I think I'm in trouble. And you hear that, like, you wake up out of that fog and you're like, something's wrong.
You never want to hear that.
She's such a stubborn little thing. She spent all night long throwing up and doubled over in pain.
Oh, no.
And she finally got to the point where she knew that she couldn't hold out any longer. She didn't want to wake up her father. And it's just me and the kids. Right. You know, I mean, Erica gets like every other weekend. But I mean, it's me and the kids. And Audrey's with me 100% of the time. So she looks at it as like, I've got to take care of Dad.
Oh, gosh.
So she doesn't want to say anything. So she wakes me up at 6 a.m. and I'm looking at her. I'm like, I knew right away something was wrong.
Yes. Oh, we can tell.
And
Always.
I know that. I mean, I've always been somebody who's fairly calm in the face of pressure.
Of course.
I think after working 10 years in 911, there's that thing where you just compartmentalize everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I just kind of looked at her very calmly and just started going through the progression of what is wrong.
Yes. What needs to happen.
Very quickly, I was like, she has an appendicitis.
Like, we're leaving right now.
That's what I saw. And I'm telling the boys, like, get yourself ready. I'm making a phone call to drop off the little guy. And like, I'm getting Dominic the rice early. I'm like, we're on the move.
Yep.
We're in the car.
Gotta do
She's in terrible pain. I get her over there. They jumped right into motion over at Christ. They did all the imaging. And it's interesting. Like, nobody wants to say what it is because they don't want to be like WebMD.
Dr. Google?
Right. They're actual doctors, right?
Yes.
So they don't want to be like, we know it's an appendix. They got to rule it all out. I know what it is.
I'm a medical person from 20 years before. They have to rule out all the other things.
But they moved her quick.
Thank goodness.
They used the advantage that she was 18, but they can technically put anybody from 19 and under into the pediatric thing.
Oh.
Pediatrics is nicer. That's a nicer ER. All ERs.
Fair enough.
If you're thinking about emergency rooms, you'd rather be hanging with the kids.
True.
Than the rest of society.
That is very true.
In a major trauma center's ER.
Oh my gosh.
So they were like, we're going to put her in that one. I'm like, that's a great idea. So they
please.
rolled her in there, got her a room. And then it was like, every time a doctor came in, the first thing they would list is, could be an appendicitis. And they throw out 3 other things. And I'd be like, hey, it's an appendicitis. So they do the blood test. The blood test is like rules out a bunch of stuff. And she's all excited because it's ruling out all this stuff.
Great.
And they're like, but your white blood cell count is high, so we're going to send you down for a CT scan. And they walk out of the room. And Audrey goes, that's good news. And I'm like, no. I'm like, your white blood cells are up because you have an infection.
You're fighting an infection. Yes, that's how that works.
And that's your appendix. You didn't hear them say, rule out an appendix, kiddo. I said, they're going to go scan you now, and they're going to prove it because they don't take out an organ from your body without confirming.
Even though it's useless.
Right.
I mean, the appendix.
It is a useless organ.
You don't need it. Thank goodness. Oh my gosh.
So they do the imaging. They come in. They originally thought it was perforated. So they start doing like antibiotics immediately.
Yes.
And then the surgeon took a look at it and was like, somebody read this wrong. Not perforated. Good news. We're still taking it. It needs to come out, blah, blah, blah. And now she's prepping for it. And it's funny because like I've had surgery before and her younger brother has had one. So I've already prepared myself for what it's like to send your kid into it. I mean, it stinks.
It does. I've done that.
Right.
Yes.
But I mean, with all three of the kids, like even Nick, when Nick's C-section happened, I got pushed out of the room because all of a sudden a bunch of alarms went off because his blood pressure was dropping so quickly. They had to pull him out as quickly as possible.
Okay.
And what do? You sit in the hallway, you say a prayer, and you wait. You can't go crazy. So you know that that's going to happen. So I was trying to keep it light, and I kept telling her, I was like, look, when you get in there, she was asking me what it was going to be like. I'm like, when you get in there, they're going to say, you're getting your appendix out, right? And she's like, why do they say that? And I said, because just in case. Because mistakes happen, and they don't want to cut your leg off.
We're
when you're
removing
supposed
your
to be
right kneecap.
Yeah,
Wait, what?
We're taking your arm today, right? Like, remember to say no appendix. I'm the worst. That's what happens when it's dad.
But you have to agree. You know, you Sharpie the arm that it was supposed to be the surgery on.
Exactly.
Like this one, not this one. I think that's a fair concern.
And I'll tell you some of my observations from this. Okay.
Yeah.
First off, doctors handle things so differently depending on where they come from.
True.
So the emergency room doctors walked in, said she's been throwing up all night. We're not giving her acetaminophen. We're not giving her ibuprofen for the pain. We're giving her morphine.
Nice.
Because they're ER doctors, right? ER doctors are like, we're ending the pain right now, right? Okay. Then another doctor comes in who's like the higher up, you know, never is down in the trenches with the emergency room people, hasn't been in there in a while. And they're like, we could just give her some Advil. And like, the nurse watches that doctor walk out of the room and is like, let's go find a doctor that'll get morphine. Like,
you can't give a PO med. You can't give Advil if they've been puking.
So then the funnier thing was like in post-op, they had a surgeon and he did a good job.
I'm
Look,
sure.
Guy came walking in. He's Italian like me, an Italian last name. He walks in, he goes, Mr. Lanuti. I'm like, hey, Goomba. And he's like, the appendix is in a bucket. That's how he says. That's the first thing he says. Appendix is out. It's in a bucket. I'm like, good. How's she doing? She's not in a bucket. I'm like, that's good.
Even better.
He's like, she's recovering. She'll be out. You'll be able to take her home. I'm like, are you out of your mind? And that's what they do. They send them right home.
Yeah.
And he was just going to give her Advil.
No.
Until the nurse, and I told Audrey afterwards, when you're in a hospital or a situation like that, you want the older, slightly angrier nurse. Because she don't care. I heard her jump on the phone with this doctor and tell him, how would you like it if I cut 4 holes in you and told you to take Advil?
Yeah.
And then he prescribed like a real
Here's
drugs.
a Band-Aid and a Tylenol.
Then he gave her
in a
real
week.
drugs. Right.
Oh my gosh.
The real drugs, though, have worn out over the last couple of days. I've been Mr. Caretaker. This is all I've been doing because they send you home. Like I kept trying to tell her, I'm like, look, sweetheart, normally they'd leave you in the hospital for a week. Now it's my job to be the nurse.
Yes.
You're not going anywhere. She was telling me, she's like, I'll be back at work by Sunday. I'm like, no, you won't. Like, you're going to be down for a while.
It sounds like it was laparoscopic.
Yeah,
it was
they inflate your stomach, and it's a bunch of different holes in her.
They removed an organ.
I know, and she's very angry. She's like, look at all these little scars on my stomach, and she's all ticked off. And she's like, why couldn't they just do it the old-fashioned way like grandpa's where they just cut one of them below your waist? Now I've got these things in my stomach, and she's very upset about the whole thing, and you know,
she'll heal. She's young. Heal. She'll be great.
But I mean, she wants to march in all the parades this weekend. We got Southside Irish Parade. She's in the Brother Rice Mother Macaulay Band. She's got the downtown parade, and I'm like, you're not even walking right now.
They need to give her a golf cart or something.
I told her, I'm like, you're not even walking. She's got a giant walking stick that I have that's like, you know, for like hiking. And I'm lifting her up and down right now to go any place. And she's like, I'm marching this weekend. I'm like, you're not doing anything of the sort.
Oh, no.
The stubbornness of youth.
Optimism. I prefer optimism.
Right.
We can call it whatever we want to call it. But, you know, she'll heal. Not that fast.
No,
maybe,
it'll take some time.
Oh
so
my
now,
gosh.
and you know, it did work out. It was nice. It was nice that the boys, this was the weekend they were with their mother.
Sure.
Because getting the 8-year-old out of the house so I could just focus on her.
Probably best.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome timing.
Oh,
it was
my
great.
gosh.
Okay. But anyway, the reason I have you here.
Oh, okay.
Because you're a professional.
I wanted to know. Your kids are awesome, so I'm really glad to be caught up. Okay.
You're a professional organizer.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Peace of mind, professional organizing. You have a podcast on a network called Your Organized Life. I bring you in when I have like major issues here in the house, and I seem to have had a lot of those over the last 6 months.
I am here to help.
It's been a roller coaster here in the Lanuti house since August. But the thing I want to ask you that may be valuable to all the listeners out there is, after an emergency, after something life-changing, altering, surgery, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
There was a moment yesterday when I looked around my house and I was like, everything that was running smoothly is no longer.
Yes.
And I don't know where to start.
Okay.
And so you know how to pull it back together. So like you're a very organized person, but I'm sure there have been times in your life where you all of a sudden you look around and say, well, everything that I used to do to stay organized is destroyed. Where do I start? So what do you start with? You start with a list? You start with a, just do the small things? How do you pick up the pieces after a major event?
That is a great question. And I'm really sorry that you find yourself in that situation because it's really hard. We start with, well, first of all, the good news is you've already figured this out in life before today. You don't have to come up with anything new. Like all you have to do is return, like you said, all the routines, all the structures that I had in place that things were running smoothly and now they're not. We don't need new things. We need to remember what we already know, right? So like if routines are where it's at, if we start with the needs versus wants. So are there groceries in the cabinet?
No.
Right? So,
I did not do my weekly Mariano's run. Like we're relying right now on the Costco big stock up that happened. Like
I'm a big fan of Costco.
Yeah, because
yes.
but the getting lunch meat and bread and eggs that normally happens on the weekend, the perishables has yet to happen.
So this is Audrey wins, but I recently had a surgery too, right? And so mine was much less dramatic. Oh my goodness. But first things first, do I have food? Right. So like I made a grocery order. I started the dishwasher. I started a load of laundry. We do not have to recreate the wheel. Once she is comfortable and fed and medicated for the moment, we start with the most basic stuff that's right in front of us. So once the moment is taken care of, okay, how can I continue to feed and make sure she's not in pain and also have clothes for the boys for school tomorrow so this is not the time to write the great American novel. This is not the time to start pulling up floorboards because you're doing a remodel.
You're exhausted.
No.
Like I've been wiped and I didn't have surgery, but when you're doing all that stuff, you're just kind of like, and the moment I get her in the bed, at the end of the day, I collapse.
Well, and you need to because you got to take care of you. Because you're taking care of everybody else. Yeah. So, yes.
Except for right now while we're doing the podcast. Right now, she's watching television and resting.
Beautiful. And that's where she needs to be. And that sounds like a great prescription right there too. But truly, like I said, now is not the time to do big, bold, new things. Food, clothing, shelter, warmth, safety, right? This is the basic, the bottom level of the hierarchy of needs. What do we need to do for the next 5 minutes and then for the next hour and then for the next, 5 hours. And, I know you got to take care of what you can take care of and then go pick up, brother number 2. And you've still got all the other things. But like I said, the basics, we just start with the basics. Once she's okay and comfortable and all of that, then start a load of laundry, place a grocery. Jewel was my friend when I couldn't leave the house.
I should have ordered food. I didn't do that. You just said that, and I'm like, as soon as you said place an order, I'm like, oh, you're an idiot, Chris. Well, I've never done that before. I have never ordered food to the house. I am not a fan. The kids love doing that thing where they use those apps.
Oh, my boys do that all the time.
Yeah. And I'm like, you just spent $45 for a thing of McNuggets with all those. What is wrong with you? Get off your butt and go buy them. Which, by the way, I'm crossing all fast food off of the list because this weekend, after it happened, I was like, all right, well, I need to get her food.
Yes.
And I was like, well, it was Friday, and I'm Catholic, and it's Lent,
yep.
so I'm like, okay, so I'll go get filet of fishes, and 3 double filet of fishes and 2 fries to feed my son who was still here. Because the other guy was in school, but he was off of school. So he was still here until he went over to his mother. So I had to feed him. Yeah. I had to feed Audrey and me. I spent $50 at McDonald's, and the price of fast food now has gotten to the same level as if I go to a regular local place. And I came back and I said, that is your last McDonald's. I could have walked up to Porter Cullen's and gotten their gotten a couple of their fish meals for the same, if not less, and fed all of you. I could have gone over to Pappy's. I could have there's a million places here. I am never going to McDonald's again. They priced themselves out of the market with me.
Rosie's for pizza.
Do you see what Wendy's is doing now? Wendy's announced like 2 weeks ago that they're going to do dynamic pricing where all their digital boards are going to raise the prices during rushes based upon need.
That
so on
is
supply
terrible.
and demand, you could show up at the Wendy's,
Right.
and depending on what time you show up, the burger could go from $6 to $10. And it's
That's
like,
gotta be illegal.
and they
That's
and they announced that they were going to do that, and this is all still the fallout from COVID. So I mean, I'm like, I've crossed all fast food. I told the kids, I'm like, we're done with fast food. That was it. That was the end of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Never ask again. Back to this thing. I'm going to order food.
Yes.
And before I let you go, quick footnote. I know you're such an organized person.
Okay.
And I know that you would say being organized helps you in those moments.
It does.
And it is true. There were certain things that worked out because I've tried to become more organized after working with you over the last couple of years.
Awesome.
Okay. But I missed like 4 meetings on the day that she had the surgery because even though it was in my calendar, I never checked them.
You had, okay, you
So
win
it was a whole
though.
day.
Like, she wins.
I had
You
somebody
can't-
at my back door to record
Oh, no.
going, hey, I'm at the back door. And we were wheeling her to surgery.
Okay, there are some times that you have the best. That is the best answer.
The
No
worst.
one is going to argue with that,
Oh,
Chris.
gosh, yeah. Like, I'm ready to, and then people
no.
feel bad. Like, you write to them like, oh, yeah, my daughter's having an emergency appendectomy. I'm at Christ. I'm really sorry. And then they just keep sending messages like, no, it's my fault. I
You
should
win.
never have come to your house. I should have assumed there was an emergency. I'm going to go home and feel bad about it. Like, people don't know how to
That
react.
you win. No one's going to argue with that. You win for like a week and a half.
I do. I do
My
win.
daughter had emergency surgery is the answer
forever.
to every
I'm milking
every question.
I'm milking it. Okay?
You should.
That's the answer for why this show is not what a normal show
man.
is. Hopefully it's still entertaining to all of you. Back to normal next week. Thanks, Colleen.
You're so welcome.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Your EP Podcast Word on the Street brought to you by Spoke and Vine Wine Bar and Bottle Shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. Wines from all over the world presented to you in all kinds of different shapes and sizes. That's right, do some tastings or get yourself a big, full glass to go along with some of the great dishes coming out of the kitchen. And if you find something you like, buy a bottle in the wine shop on the way out the door. 21 and over establishment, a great night for wine is pretty much every night. See more at spokenvinewines.com. Early voting is now happening in Cook County, and it's going on through March the 18th, and residents of Evergreen Park can vote early at the Oak Lawn Village Hall, 9446 South Raymond. If you'd like to be a poll worker, election judge, or a polling place technician, they are needed on election day, and you can be paid between $250 and $400 depending on the position. Visit the Cook County Clerk's website for more information. The Village of Evergreen Park's Police Department will hold 2 T-level clinics for the Kids Golf Foundation this summer. These clinics are offered free of charge to resident children between the ages of 8 to 13. So if you're looking for free golf for your kid, priority is given to kids whose families are financially burdened and cannot offer their children this type of opportunity. Check out more at the Village website. And the Evergreen Park Historical Commission Museum is now open every first and third Saturday of each month from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. It's located at the Evergreen Park Senior Center, 9547 South Homan Avenue. The museum can also be open up to groups during the week by appointment. You can call George Peso for more information at 708-422-5222. Joining me on the phone line right now from Evergreen Park High School, Tim Moran is on the line. How are you, Tim?
No, I'm great. How about yourself, Chris?
Good, good. You have your finger on the pulse of everything going on over there because you're the guy that sends out all the press releases and tells me everything that's happening over there. And I figured it would be a good time to just kind of bring you in and talk about a very exciting last month or so over there. We just had Jim Sexton on to talk about the regional championship. I know the YA Literary Festival is coming up this weekend, actually on the 16th. Is that big literary festival we've been talking about on the EP podcast. But there's some stuff that may have slipped through the cracks. I see Evergreen Park won a welding competition. Like, I didn't even know you had welders over there, and it sounds like you have the best in the state. What happened?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, welding's actually a really big thing here. And we didn't only win the competition, but we swept it. It was the Moraine Valley Community College. Every year they have a high school welding competition. I believe there were 4 other schools in this one, and Evergreen Park not only won the first prize, which was Zach Gumbin. He wins a $1,000 educational scholarship. We also got second place Diego Mbonse, who won $500 educational scholarship, and third place Aiden Brunner, winning $300 worth of welding gear, and obviously our team came in first place as well. And just as an historical note, as for how big welding is here at EPCHS, Evergreen Park has actually won 5 of the past 6 Moraine Valley High School welding competitions, and we actually hosted it here the one COVID year where Moraine Valley wasn't able to do so themselves. Yeah, it's all under the direction of John O'Connor. He's sort of a legend here. He's been here for decades teaching industrial tech, and it looks like 3, 6, 9 kids on the team. They just did really well, and yeah, welding's something we're definitely proud of here.
You know, I see kids, they head off to school and they've got their different things for the clubs that they're in and maybe a little extra bag if they're on a sport. Are these welding kids like showing up at the school with their own big giant iron mask and blowtorch? Like, or is that something that's just sitting at the school?
Oh, that's actually something sitting in the school here. Yeah, it's really, if you've never been by, you definitely check out our metal shop. They got all the equipment here and everything. And yeah, it's not necessarily like something that's going to attract kids like, I want to go to the best welding school here. But, you know, once you get in, OC does a really good job in recruiting the kids, and people take a lot of pride to it and everything. And yeah, the numbers are growing in that as well. And it's a very good, unique thing that we offer here.
And then I see you have a Teacher of the Year. This is a state award, 2024 Illinois Teacher of the Year. Who won this over there?
Bryn Zigreb. She is in, I believe, her 4th year here at EPCHS, and 4th year as a full-time teacher. She's pretty fresh out of college, and that's the premise for the award she won. She won the Outstanding Early Career Educator of the Year in the state of Illinois, which means she's part of the State of Illinois Teacher of the Year cohort. It's selected by the Illinois State Board of Education, so it's a statewide award. And the other awards, the other 14 teachers that are part of the cohort, they were in a group of awards, and Bryn is one of the few ones that won. She's the only winner of this particular award, and that just goes to show just the freshness of Evergreen Park High School teachers here, and you know, the future that we have here, because this award is only open to early career educators, and being in one of her first 5 years, she was picked for that. And we actually got a call from the State Superintendent of Education, Dr. Tony Sanders, called the school. Principal, Mr. Dugan, called Bryn into the office. She didn't know what was going on at all, and she was pretty surprised by winning it. And we've had some media coverage on it as well. She was nominated by both her science department chair, Dr. Mike Thomas, and the director of curriculum here, Meg Schillo, and then Samantha Ricks, one of our brilliant senior students, wrote a letter of recommendation to the board. And yeah, we were just thrilled they picked her. And yeah, she's great. Not only is she a science teacher, like I said, she's only been here for 4 years, but she's had so many awards already. The first year I was here, she actually won the Staff Member of the Year award here. She's won Staff Member of the Month, I think, at least a couple of times. And she's also the assistant coach for our cross-country team, which is growing in numbers every year. And she's also involved in activities, too. So we're obviously very proud of Bryn for bringing that award home to Evergreen Park.
Yeah, I mean, she gets called to the principal's office, doesn't know what's happening. That's got to be actually slightly nerve-wracking. Then she walks in, she wins this award. What do you give the teacher of the year? Flowers, balloons, a cake, a cash prize, a new car? What do you give her?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, on our end, just the accolades. But no, we announced it at the faculty meeting. We gave her some flowers, some balloons, had a little photo op there. And she had already heard of it before earlier in the day. But, yeah, we're just absolutely proud of her.
Awesome. And then you have a Chick Evans winner, if I'm not mistaken. One of your golfers just won an award.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Evergreen Park is sort of, I think someone referred to it as a Chick Evans factory as of late. Colleen Kelly, yeah, he's the star golfer on our golf team this past fall. He was actually a state qualifier, the first Evergreen Park golfer to make it to the IHSA state finals in a few years. And he also does caddying, and that's what the Chick Evans Scholarship is for golf caddies. And he's been caddying actually longer than he's golfed. He's been a caddy since he was in 8th grade over at the Ridge Country Club. He lives just a few blocks away from there. So it's a full ride scholarship, and you have to go through the works of putting through an essay, filling out all the paperwork and everything, and you have to have certain qualifications on the caddying end of it. And he just happens to also be the star of the golf team. Coach Pasek said he was always the one you could count on giving the low score at every meet. And like I said, he's one in a line here at Evergreen Park. We've had 5 in the last 4 years. It was Nellie O'Grady the year before I got here. That must have been 2021. She's over at Indiana. Danny McQuillan the next year also got to Indiana. Last year we had 2 winners, Jack Donnelly and Leo Cassidy. Leo's actually helping out with the golf team over at the University of Illinois. He's one of the team managers. And Jack Donnelly is at Kansas University. And I believe Colin Kelly, he put you, because with the Chick Evans Scholarship, you get to pick your top 5 colleges of where you want to go. The scholarship committee actually picks the school you want to go. It picks the school that you go to based off of your preferences. But Colin Kelly actually put Kansas as his number 1 school. So he's hoping to be reunited with Jack there in the fall. We'll find out in a couple of weeks where he's going. But yeah, very proud of him. Yeah, he's a star golfer and just a great kid on and off the course. And yeah, it's great to see for at least the 4th year in a row, Evergreen Park getting at least one Chick Evans Scholarship. And yeah, I can't stress it enough. It's a full ride scholarship. So like everything, room and board, education is covered. And
I think though that what he should be most excited about, I don't know what it's like over at Kansas. I see the University of Illinois as his second choice on the press release, but I know that the Chick Evans scholars have like the nicest house on campus. Like it's like the place to live. Like you see all these other fraternity houses and stuff. They're these rundown things. And the Chick Evans house is like, just like the high society house in the middle of the campus. So he's also going to have a really cool place to live, I would assume, wherever he goes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I haven't seen any of them myself, but yeah, I did know that, yeah, all the Chick Evans, they put them all together in one house. And yeah, I bet just by the prestigiousness of the scholarship, yeah, that doesn't come as a surprise to me.
All right, so Tim, before I let you go, I know we got the YA Literary Festival happening on the 16th over at the school. It's a combination effort between librarian Tina Ward that's over at your school and Mary Black that's over at the Evergreen Park Public Library. I know I'm going to swing by there. We've had recently on the show, we've had authors in here. We've had them in there. Should be a big, fun event happening on Saturday, March 16th. Anything else? Something you want to tell me about before I let you go that is on the horizon over at the school?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the spring sports is actually just starting this week. We're very excited about it. Our softball team's got a lot of new faces. I know they graduated a lot of good seniors from last year, but Coach Fusco is just a stellar coach. He's going to have them ready to go. Baseball season starts tomorrow, I guess, with the recording. That's going to be today. Catch the Mustangs at home. They're under new manager Andrew Massey, who's the brother of Kansas City Royals second baseman Michael Massey. healthy. He's doing a great job in his freshman year, and Jack Hughes, who's already committed to a college, is going to have a great senior year. So expect big things from the baseball team and girls soccer as well. Matt Makrovich is at the helm of that program, and I think they're going to have a great season as well. So come out and support the Mustangs. We're going to have some warm weather days coming up, and a great time to support our sports programs in the spring.
Thank you, Tim, for checking in. Folks, if you're heading out to the parade along Western Avenue on Sunday, stop by Cork and Carry. I'm going to be along the parade route for Sox in the Basement and Southside Pod at Cork and Carry at 106th and Western. On St. Patrick's Day Eve, I have a local boat captain here in Evergreen Park who's taking me down to the river to paint it green. I'm going to get video for all of you of that. I'll be at the YA Literary Festival, and then I think Dad and I are going to go to a couple of establishments and have a pint. So I will see you out and about this weekend. Have a great week, getting ready for a big weekend here on the South Side. And thanks for listening to the EP Podcast.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.